Welcome in to episode number 5 of the Bleav In Twins podcast on the Bleav Network. I am your host, Anders Pryor, joined by my wonderful co-host and analyst, Zac Tipton, who is making his collared shirt debut on the show today. That's a boundary that I'm not brave enough to cross, but what is that? Is that a shirt or a polo?
It's a polo. It's a polo.
Polo?
It's my company polo that I work for, BB Adrenaline.
There you go. Okay.
Fire.
And the business representative, you look sharp.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Combed over, everything looks great.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Facial hair is coming back into. I'm not.
I need to shave again.
I made a pretty big leap. I made a pretty big leap since I surprised the audience with my totally abandoned face. Yeah. Exactly.
It's crazy. No, I know. I'm like, dude, I don't think I've ever seen you without any facial hair.
No, that was my first time going fully clean in like 2 years.
It's been a while.
But yeah, no, very exciting episode today. Maybe a little bit on the shorter end, just in terms of number of subjects, but a couple quick things. I was making a joke to Zac earlier on the show. It would be a little dishonest and not dishonest, but a little bit of a letdown if I didn't give at least a 2-minute space to talk about the Vikings and this brutal month and just vicious week that they've had. Now kind of topped off with McCarthy, doing I think the smart thing, which is just getting the full repair. It just to create some more safety down the road instead of getting it trimmed and risking re-aggravation. But Zac, you can use this because I'm not a Vikings fan. Zac is, so this is all emotional for him. So
I've definitely cried in the past, not just in Zebby Matthews making his debut. I've definitely cried because of the Vikings news that has come about. Yeah, it hurts. It's been rough, man. I started last week's show. We started last week's show talking about the Olympics, and then I brought up the fact that I thought we had, the next 6 Super Bowls in the bag after J.J. McCarthy's preseason debut, only to find out that J.J. McCarthy tore his meniscus during that game. And it was really painful. It was really hard because, the potential was there in that first game, and you were so excited as a Vikings fan. The fan base was in great shape, and then all of a sudden now it's like, oh, that's over. And then you move on to the fact that Jordan Addison then goes down, gets carted off the injury. Right as the announcement that McCarthy's out for the season happens, the announcement that Jordan Addison was carted off the field with a leg injury, comes out. Now, luckily, that seems more along the lines of just an ankle injury, and it does not seem to be actually a significant injury at all, and he should only be out for the next couple of weeks probably. So that's good in that fact that we found that out. But with all the injuries and obviously the sad passing away of Kyrie Jackson, it's been a really rough year for us and a rough off season for us there. But I think you got to look at a little bit of positive, which is we kind of assumed J.J. McCarthy wasn't going to start it all this year anyway. That was the plan in general. And this just makes the plan more clear.
That was the silver lining that I thought of, was like, now you don't have to do this whole political thing of Sam Darnold is not playing great, but they're still winning games. But then JJ's better at practice and the locker room's divided. So what do you do? Now there's a super clear vision. They go all in on Sam.
And if Sam struggles and if Sam is really bad or does not make that step you wanted to make as a QB, you still have Nick Mullins there that you can trust to go get 300 yards and 6 picks a game and call it a day. No, I think that's nice. Yeah, I think that helps a lot this year. The drama that it's Sam's team, it's Darnold's team now.
Yep.
This is his opportunity to prove that maybe he wasn't. Maybe it was just the Jets were shit. We're really bad. The Jets were really bad, and They couldn't develop him. And the Jets are still bad. No offense, Anders. Anders is a Jets fan, which is why this is fun for me.
Really
Anyway, so no, I think, and this is Sandoval's chance to prove himself as a QB.
Yep. No, definitely. No, it'll be there. They'll be kind of interesting to watch. They had by and large, I thought, a pretty quiet offseason outside of the Jefferson extension, and up until this point, like now.
I disagree. We made a lot of free agent moves. Specifically on the defensive end of the ball.
No,
right?
sure.
We signed Aaron Jones. We signed Jonathan Grenard. We signed Blake Cashman. We signed Andrew Van Ginkel. All four of those guys will most likely start for us. Yeah. We signed Shaq Griffin. I feel like we made a trade too. I can't think. Well, I mean, we did all the draft stuff. Dallas Turner looks like he's gonna be a stud. Yep. I think this is a pretty solid. This is a pretty good offseason for the Vikings in terms of.
It was good. It was definitely good. Kind of a lot of. It wasn't very dramatic in the way that the Cowboys and the Eagles and the Niners and the Jets have had.
Those are also big market teams that are also like they're gonna have a lot more faces.
Well, that's true, but they have actually also had like some of the reports.
But heck, I'd rather take all the signings we had than guys holding out for contracts.
That's true. Yeah,
like, that's like I wouldn't want to be dealing with the CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Ayuk stuff this offseason.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't either.
Or
it's a mess.
Who was the Giants defensive lineman that just held out and got traded, or or was the Giants defensive lineman that held out? Or was it the Jet? Who was? Oh, it's the Hassan Reddick.
Yes.
Hassan Reddick. That's what I'm thinking of. Not Giants. That's Jets, right?
Yeah, that's gonna be. Yeah, there's some of the. That's gonna be really interesting to see how far that goes because we do have a couple of precedents and situations on people holding out like into multiple games of the year, but we'll see.
And then obviously Matthew Judon got traded, and I think he was holding out for a contract, and he got traded. Yep. And now he and the team he got traded to can't work out a deal. So it's great. It's very. It's been a very lots of holdouts have kind of been the main focus of the. But you know who didn't hold out because he did, or at least he announced he was holding out? Justin Jefferson.
Exactly.
Because you know why? Because the Vikings know how to treat their guys.
The way that they handled it was I thought they took the correct.
And also, I think it was also on Jefferson because Jefferson could have done the Stephon Diggs route where he deletes a bunch of social media stuff, posts cryptic tweets, social media, and stuff like that. Jefferson never really mentioned on social media, which I was really happy with. And I think he talked about that a lot, being like, I was never going to go that way. I never wanted to make a big deal on social media. I wanted this to be kind of worked out in-house, and that's what they did. So, we love that.
Definitely. Quick, just kind of usual around the league stuff before we talk Twins. Aaron Judge becoming the fastest player to hit 300 home runs in terms of number of games to get there, finishing, I think doing it 100. I think it's like 155 games faster than the second most all time. I forget who it was. They were showing a graphic earlier today on somewhere on Fox Sports. But the on pace stuff that Judge is
Ralph Kiner.
Thank you.
I forget. 132 games.
That's 132 games. Okay, the 155 is referencing some other stat that is within that subject. But some of the numbers that and the pace of play stuff, not pace of play, but the things that he's on pace for. I know that sometimes people will use the phrase like Bond-like, or it's like Barry Bonds numbers, a little bit too kind of sparingly, or like not sparingly, but like, like they'll throw it around a little bit too casually without, if you're going to talk about like advanced analytics, like, really like get down to like what's really going on there. But like if you look at like what Judge is doing, like if you look at like the intentional walk rates and like the OPS, like the like I forget the combination of like on base percentage and OPS at this point in the season. I forget if it was 450 and like 1300 OPS is the combination. But like it's only been done 5 times, and Judge is this season, and the other 4 are Bond season. So
Yeah.
it's a little bit more literal. But Zach, your kind of reaction to the accomplishment and this season from Judge as a whole, as he looks to kind of lock up his second MVP
I mean, it's crazy to think about, like just the number he puts up. Like you tell me that in a non-steroid era of baseball, and it doesn't feel real. Like what Aaron Judge is doing is on a level that we've never seen before. It's on a level that we'll probably never see for a while, for a very long time at least, because not only is he hitting home runs, but he's getting on base and he's doing a good job of like he's not striking out. Like for example, and I know it's not the same example, but Peter Alonso hits a lot of home runs, but if he doesn't hit a home run, he's not getting on base at all either.
Right.
There's a lot of guys that hit home runs and just hit home runs.
Right.
If they don't hit a home run, it's a home run or strikeout. It's a two option game.
Yeah.
Judge is the opposite. He's gonna do everything.
No, that's the thing that like people, and I apologize for the fire truck outside of my window.
Hey, it's fine. You live in a big city.
Big city. They're going to clean up
in the big city, I should
the
say.
Big
not,
city.
Not a big city. The big city.
Clean up the mess that Judge is left behind. But no, it's kind of, to put it, it is sort of weird to put it simply that like the sentence Aaron Judge hits for average is correct. And I know that like maybe there's some dispute on that in terms of like stylistically people like hit for average, but like he like in terms of like seeking singles and things like that, and there's that whole kind of nuance to it. But like if you're talking about just the metrics, like he hits for average in a way that a lot of these other guys don't. And I think it's really unique, and the combination of what he provides is so, because I think at one point, like during 2022, the home run chase was kind of the big part of it. And like that was like the narrative of it. Now I think more so it's more kind of like, it's not as much of a gimmick. Now it's like a full like body of work over the course of a season, and that's incredibly impressive in multiple facets rather than just kind of chasing a finite number of something, if that makes sense. So really, really unique to see, and it's I'm really excited to see kind of how it all comes to fruition.
Well, one thing I will say though is, one thing I will say to keep us on the Louie Twins topic is what Royce Lewis is doing in the home run area is absolutely incredible. I mean, I don't know if you've seen the stats that he's put up, but Royce Lewis is only the fourth guy in. I'm trying to find the exact stat. I was looking at it here. Royce Lewis is only the fourth player. Is only the fourth player in MLB history with more homers and more RBIs through 110 career games. He has 32 homers and 91 RBIs in 110 career games. Only 3 guys have higher stats than that through their first 110 career games. So to keep that on a level of like, crazy home run paces, Royce Lewis is on a 162 game, 61 home run pace.
Right.
To go along with that. And he hit another one, I think, this last series against the Royals, which allowed him to keep going. But Royce Lewis, it's not just to keep there. No, what Aaron Judge does is unbeatable, and no one will ever top that. But Royce Lewis is himself is doing something.
Yeah,
Really
no, Royce is, I think, he is Royce, I think, is the biggest example of like, of all the people that like, like where it's like, man, like I wish this guy just like stayed healthy. I think Jacob deGrom is probably first on the list for me, but I think Royce is probably second.
That's fair. And honestly, and I think we all want to see what Jacob deGrom would have done
Yeah.
if he stayed healthy his whole career.
No, that's yeah.
And before we get to the Twins talk, I also want to give a shout out here. Christian Vasquez, Christian Vasquez, is officially hit his 10-year mark in the majors today. So they did a big celebration for him today because this is officially his 10 year in the major mark today. So shout out to Christian Vasquez. We'll talk about him here later because he's been on an absolute tear recently.
Right.
But
no, this was a very good.
But it's huge to see that they brought in a mariachi band today into the locker room to celebrate Christian Vasquez's 10 year as in the majors. We love that. So shout out Christian Vasquez. But anyway.
No, this was a really good series for him. So the kind of main subject line of this episode is going to be the pitching, and and two in particular, guys that we talked about a lot last episode, talking about Zebby Matthews and Louie Varland, and kind of looking at each of their starts. As you know, this is kind of as we're kind of getting into the home stretch, like kind of what this last chapter of the Twins season looks like, and kind of going through each one and just talking about what we saw, because obviously last week we had essentially a sermon on Zebby Matthews and Zebby season and all of that. But I want to start with that, Zach, because I was incredibly impressed. I thought the cutter was as good as advertised. I thought the control and the placement was really spot on, and it looked very refined. And I think, and the broadcast, they mentioned that multiple times, and kind of hammered that in. I thought they did a very good job at kind of advertising him to the community that, a community that might not know him on that extent. But
yeah,
I thought the fastball cutter combo was super effective. And again, I thought the cutter, I do think that is his best pitch. The placement was great. The movement, it's on the slower side, but it's not slow to an extent where you need to kind of, like ding, 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 hit the red button. I thought that, the changeup, he doesn't throw it a lot, but he throws it enough to where you notice it as a part of his repertoire. I thought it was a little passive. I didn't feel like he was using it to try and get swing and misses out of the zone. I thought he was just kind of using it to throw balls and manipulate the count. I think that that's something that will change as he gets more big league starts and gains more confidence and understands the optics of approaching a major league opponent. But those are my kind of main notes, Zach.
His cutter's incredible. He throws that slider a lot too. I really like that slider he throws. Not a lot. Sorry. Yeah, no, that is the slider he throws second most. So for example, so on that day he threw 38 fastballs. He threw 16 sliders, 15 cutters, and 4 changeups, 4 curves. So it wasn't a ton.
But, the curveball kind of came out of nowhere. I think they were also surprised by that, even threw that at all.
Yeah. But anyway, so the cutter, he was the whole one he allowed the home run on. But that pitch they allowed that home run on to MJ Melendez was not a bad pitch.
No.
That thing was moving and it was inside, and MJ Melendez just got his hands around on it. It was a good pitch. It was a great placement of a ball that MJ Melendez just made a better swing on. That's really what it was. It wasn't a fault of Zebby at all. That was a great pitch. Right. There was a little bit of hard contact stuff I was a little worried about. I felt like he kind of got hit hard early in that game.
Yeah.
That was a little scary at first, but I thought he played amazing. I thought he did amazing.
No, even the ones that were like caught as fly balls or like whatever, or even the ones that were like lined out in the infield, like they left the bat really hard.
Yeah.
That was very easy to notice.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And there's a reason his xERA is now 5.79. I mean, it wasn't like that's not great, but I was happy. I was very impressed with his ability. I really like him. I think the Twins do obviously too. That's why they kept him in the majors and sent down Louie Varland instead.
Yep.
Which I don't know if you saw that just happened. Louie Varland was sent down in order to bring another reliever, Ronnie Henriquez. He got called up. So anyway, but Zebby was awesome, and I loved it. I got to enjoy that. I watched every pitch. I thought there were some good pitches in there. Like you said, that cutter, he threw one really nasty cutter kind of later in his outing that I thought was really nasty. And, in my opinion, he could have kept going. They took him out after 5. I'm guessing that was just to save his arm and be like, hey,
Yeah.
great outing. But he was only like 73 pitches, so he definitely probably could have gone another inning.
No, he definitely could have. I mean, I don't, you try to, if it's not broke, like don't think. And the thing is like the Twins were up. The Twins were up.
We were up big at that point.
And so there's like the argument of like, okay, so like, do you just preserve the arm and let the bullpen take care of the rest, or there's like the other argument, which is like, okay, like this is a guy who's making his like debut, and you want him, if he has any kinks that he wants to like kind of work out or get refined, like you want to do that as soon as possible. So do we have a big enough of a lead where we can afford for him to make a mistake?
Absolutely.
But I mean, either way was fine. I think keeping him to 5, I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah. I was very impressed with his placement of his fastball. There were a lot of times, in my opinion, where he got into like 3-1 counts or 2-0 counts and didn't allow a walk. Like we saw he had 0 walks allowed in that game, which is his specialty. But his ability to like be like 3-1 down on the guy and not walk him and get the out is incredibly impressive. His ability to just find the zone when he needs to find the zone with good pitches is incredibly impressive.
Right.
So I was very impressed with Zebby Matthews. I'm very excited about him. Obviously, I'm guessing his next start will be probably this series, honestly. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
He'll probably pitch that Sunday. My guess is where the lineup is taking him, I guess, because I guess we're going over tonight, and we go back, and we go over Woods, Richardson, Pablo, Zebby, I'm guessing.
This has it listed as Ober, Woods, Richardson, Festa, Lopez.
Okay, maybe I'm wrong then. I guess that makes sense because they sent Varland down, so I guess he'd be
right. So they have to reshuffle
a
little bit.
So they sent Varland back down. So
which sucks. It would have been really cool to like.
You're right. It is that exact. Yeah. So that means why am I? Okay, sorry. I'm looking at my app right now, and I realized that I had the Rangers favorited for some reason.
But then we get it's cool because then we're gonna get Matthews to open the Padres series on FS1. That's gonna be a really cool spot for him.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, on FS1 versus the Padres, who are really hot.
Yeah,
that will be a little bit scary for me. I'm not gonna lie, I'll be a little scared, but I'm gonna be excited to watch.
I was gonna say this. You had mentioned. I think the what was it the Rangers have won 5 games since the 26th of July.
Yeah.
So this would have been maybe
5-13 in the last 18.
Because that Royals, the Royals lineup is a really hard lineup to navigate, and he was pitching in a very pitcher-friendly environment in Target Field. It would have been a nice transition because I think the Rangers would have been a perfect second opponent for him because the Rangers, have been a little bit more spotty offensively, and and been struggling as of late in comparison to the Royals. But you still get that, pitcher friendly environment in Globe Life. And so he could have let that too, where, it doesn't put too much pressure on him to kind of fix those hard contact mistakes.
You know what? It's good that he gets to face really tough opponents early because
Yeah.
that just only helps him. And he's gonna face one of the hottest team in baseball. I don't know if it's I don't know if you consider them or the Diamondbacks the hottest team in baseball, but it's one of those two, in my opinion.
I would
Um,
go with the Padres maybe, but
um,
yeah.
it's between those two though. But the
Yes.
Padres, um, you're gonna face one of the hottest teams in baseball in your second start, and you're gonna be forced to go in there and just get outs. And you're gonna
Right.
be facing some of the best hitters in Fernando Tatis, in Trent Grisham, not Trent Grisham. I always said Trent Grisham. Why did I say Trent Grisham? Definitely not Trent Grisham. Anders
Um,
can agree. Definitely not Trent Grisham.
not Trent Grisham. The Padres are currently number one in average, and so they have a lot of contact seeking, not just guys that hit for high average, but contact seeking guys. So I think what I kind of want to see here, with like Arias and Profar and going up against those kinds of guys, like okay, so can he get himself into a multi-base runner jam? Or if he doesn't, that's great. But if he does get him, I think it is likely, just based on the kind of the way that the Padres lineup is constructed, can he get himself into, if he does get himself into a multi-base runner jam, can he get those strikeouts and get those numbers, strike guys out with runners stranded? I think that's going to be something, because this is not going to be like the Royals where he hits solo home runs and you just kind of move on, right? Like
There's gonna
this
be a
is,
lot of guys getting
there's
on
going to be
base.
more. It's going to be a more kind of
Possibly.
complex
Yeah,
problem.
absolutely. So I'm
And so,
excited though. I'm excited for that.
me too.
And then I was very happy that the Twins did this, in my opinion, by not letting Ober face the Royals. I don't know if they thought the same thing, but when I saw because originally Ober was supposed to play yesterday. He was
Right.
supposed to pitch yesterday versus the Royals, and I'm like, I tweeted out, I'm like, is there a way to figure out a way to not let Ober pitch this against the Royals? Is there a way to figure out a way to not let Ober pitch against the Royals and move his start back a day?
Right.
Question mark. And they
Question.
did, which I'm very happy with because obviously, as you guys know, Bailey Ober is been really bad against the Royals.
Yep.
So I'm glad he gets to kind of continue his streak here against the Rangers tonight. I don't know if you saw, but MLB posted it. MLB posted the stat line on Bailey Ober that I saw, and it was here we go. Bailey Ober's MLB ranks since June 16th. 1.76 ERA, second in all of baseball. 0.73 WHIP, second in all of baseball.
Right.
0.152 opponent batting average, second in all of baseball, and a 488 opponent OPS, third in all of baseball. So basically, what they're saying is since the middle of June, Bailey Orr's been the second best pitcher in baseball.
Right.
I actually don't know who they have as number one. I'm trying to think of who's going to get. I don't know who would be number one in those rankings. Do you know?
No.
I wouldn't know.
Was this MLB.com?
There's MLB Network that posted on Twitter.
MLB Network. But no, I mean, of all of those things, that the low whip is the thing that stands out to me the most, because if you're like a strikeout seeking pitcher or a strikeout heavy pitcher, the way that Ober is, having getting those, the low whips to keep your pitch count down and being able to stay in the game and, not just pitching strikeouts just you can, but you're letting up runs. So that to me is the most impressive part of that.
Absolutely. No, I agree. But anyway, that's what I saw. I saw that stat and it was like, yes, since June 16th. I don't even know how they figured that out.
Yeah.
For them to be able to figure that out, I'm trying to figure out how they figure that out. But it is crazy just how good they've been.
No, absolutely.
Good he's been, and so he pitches tonight versus the Rangers. And yeah, no, I'm very, 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 very excited. So
yeah, no, absolutely. So yeah, overall, Zebby Matthews, I'd say 9. I'd give it a 9 out of 10. I think you had to duck him a point for the home runs, but I'd say 9 out of 10.
Yeah, absolutely. I would as well.
Yeah. More, I think multiple home runs. I think you maybe duck him 2 points, 2.5 points for if it was his second, third, fourth start. But first start, I'll duck him a point, so 9 out of 10. Which it's great, as we've been talking about for a bit now. The Twins trying to kind of structure, like flesh out and locate their identity for the back half of this starting rotation, and this, I think, what you saw from Zebby was a great step in the right direction for that. But now to touch on, maybe not less impressive start necessarily, but maybe a less exciting, less aesthetically pleasing start in Louie Varland, who did, for all his credit, give the Twins a quality start, to pull up his exact stat line.
I got you.
Um,
I got you. He had 5 innings, 8 hits, 6 innings, 8 hits, 3 earned runs, 3 strikeouts, 1 walk.
2 home, and with 2 home
with
runs.
2 solo home runs. Yeah,
2 solo home runs. So I mean, so your reaction, Zach? I thought, for me personally, I thought that they kept him in an inning longer than they should have. I thought that you could the throwing outside of the zone, the command, I thought was clearly slowly depleting inning by inning, and so I thought that he didn't get punished too much for it by the batters, but I thought they let him stay in an inning too long, personally.
Yeah, I agree. I would have to agree. Also, I figured it out. I believe. I believe. I'm not mistaken. I think Blake Snell might be the one that's number 1.
Snell. Okay.
I could be wrong. It could be him or it could be Dylan Cease. It's one of those two. But not sure exactly. But anyway, so yeah, no, I would have to say, yeah, they didn't. I would say let him inning too long. You have with solo homer in the 6th, but
Yeah.
I'm happy that he at least went 6. He never goes 6, so for him to go 6 was a good sign.
Yeah, sure.
Again, they sent him down, so I'm a little confused on why they. Not really confused. Actually, I'm not confused at all. I know they're not gonna have a 6-person rotation.
Right.
They brought Louie Varland up, I think, to start that game.
Yeah.
To possibly move Ober off. I wonder if that's the real reason why they did it. Was to not let Ober pitch against the Royals. But no, I'm happy with how Varland did, and like I said, this team is going to need depth in pitching, and they're going to need their pitchers when they play to step up and be that depth. So for it to be, and it looks like right now that Zebby Matthews might have won the 5th starter job for right now, which is great. But I also saw a stat. I saw a thing on Twitter that I really agreed with, which was people are forgetting. People got so lucky last year at the Twins that we forget what a true a 5th starter really is.
Right.
Because last year we were so lucky with our starters that our 5th starter was still a top 30 starter in baseball, top 40 starter in baseball last year because we were so lucky. But it was that's usually not what a 5th starter is. A 5th starter is usually a guy that's going to be an inning eater, or he's going to be a guy that just goes out there and keeps you in a game. And I think that's what people are kind of forgetting. Last year, our 5th starter was Louie Varland, but it was a Louie Varland that was on a pace we've never seen before. He was going crazy early in that year before he eventually fell off the brakes and he fell out, and then Kenta Maeda took over as our 5th starter back again. But so I don't know. That's just where I'm at with it personally. I thought Varland had a great start, and I will say that. Although I don't know. I guess we'll see how it goes from here on out with him.
It was. I thought it was kind of neat or interesting and informative that Zebby's start and Louis' start came right one after each other. Because I think I think that Louis Varland's strongest pitch might also be his cutter. But I thought like Zebby's cutter clearly was better, both in terms of movement and placement and all that kind of stuff. And I also the difference in command I thought was incredibly stark. And so I don't blame them for sending him down. I thought, I thought that having them go back to back was really informative. And so I feel comfortable in the meantime with having Zebby based off of one start kind of just, because it's not like, they're trying to find the identity of that last part, but they have infrastructure in place, like collectively. I think that I'm fine with Zebby taking the 5th starter spot. And, whatever happens with Varland, we'll see. But yeah, I thought it was cool that they went back to back because that we got to see a more direct contrast.
Yeah, I agree. No, I agree. I think it was kind of weird to see because it was like you knew it was kind of Varland's always been in the bubble of the majors. I think at this point he's kind of turned into a quadruple A guy for us. And so I think at this point I think he's kind of on that bubble of the majors and stuff. But he got outpitched by Zebby Matthews, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and I think Zebby looks the part, and I think he's a lot more exciting of a prospect. I mean, you're bringing up a guy that is top 100 in baseball. I think they just came out with. That's something I want to bring up here eventually is, and I'll do it now because we're here. The brand new MLB Top 100 just came out, and the Twins are one of 3 or 4 teams, I think it is, that has 6 prospects in the top 100.
Mm-hmm.
And that is at number 4, Walker Jenkins. No shock there. He's a beast. He's going to be incredible for us in a couple of years. Walker Jenkins, number 4. Brooks Lee is still at number 16. I don't know if Brooks Lee actually graduates from prospect status, but he's hurt now, so we won't find out for a while. But I'm assuming he's getting closer to probably graduating from prospect status. I mean, but yeah, Brooks Lee at 16, Emmanuel Rodriguez at 22, and then you drop down, and those are your top 3. We know that's our top 3, and then you drop down, and Luke Keeschel's at 67. Zebby Matthews is at 87, and David Festa is at 89.
Mm-hmm.
So we have 3 of those 6 players are in the majors right now. And we've asked a long time, and Anders, you have not been around for long enough to know this as a Twins fan, but we've asked for a long time. Like Derek Falvey promised a long time ago that he was going to develop our pitching pipeline, and we were going to get a pitching pipeline built. And he promised that for a very long time. And we've been asking for years, like, when's that pipeline going to get here? When are we going to eventually see the results of, like, the pitchers? And we're finally seeing it.
Right.
We got Woods Richardson up. We got Festa up. We got Zebby Matthews up. We got Varland there. Bailey Over is another guy that was part of that pitching pipeline. I mean, Joe Ryan was technically, I guess he's a prospect for us. He wasn't a homegrown guy, but neither was Woods Richardson. So Woods Richardson was in a double-A when we got him, but he's not homegrown. Joe Ryan, I would say, is pretty much not the opposite homegrown. He's basically a major league pitcher when we got him.
Yep.
But like Zebby, 8th round pick, 2022, he's in the majors. Varland was like a 9th round pick in 2020 or something like that. I don't exactly remember when we got on draft, but he's like a 9th rounder. He's in the majors. Festa was like a 9th rounder out of Seton Hall. He was in the majors. And then you got who am I missing? And then you got so I mean it's just, and then obviously you have guys coming up, right? You have Andrew Morris. He just made his AAA debut a couple days ago. Had a really good outing in AAA. Corey Lewis just pitched really well, and he's coming up soon. CJ Culpepper, he's back. He's getting ready to kind of be in that mix as well.
Yeah.
And you got other pitchers down the road that are like looking really good, like Charlie Soto, our 1st round pick 2 years ago in the same draft as Walker Jenkins. Soto went in that competitive balance A round or whatever it's called. and he looks incredible, and he's only 19. So for the Twins right now, the pitching pipeline is finally starting to really show its face, and it looks incredible. So huge shout out to David Beth, to Derek Falvey. Huge shout out to Thad Levine. David. I just said David Hopkins. I think Hopkins is our pitching coach, but not our pitching coach, our hitting coach. But it's no, it's awesome. So I'm very very happy with how the Twins pitching pipeline is kind of built right now.
Right.
So yeah, that's really exciting for us. And yeah, that's that. That's the Twins pitching pipeline right now. Ober was drafted in the 2019. He was 15th round in the 2019 draft for Louie Varland, which is just crazy. First off, but yeah. So anyway, that's that. That's our pitching pipeline, and I'm very excited about our prospects coming up. Very excited about the ones we have now. As people have already kind of heard from me, Zebby Matthews is incredible. I'm excited. David Vesta, he looks really good. I'm hoping he can kind of stay that way. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. But for now, we've got a pitching
Yeah.
depth.
No, it's the culmination of a lot of work, and I don't want people. No, like Paul Skeens is not the same. Like it takes it takes time, and for staff like a whole to flesh out a whole staff. You can isolate a singular prospect, and some take a year, some take 4, and so the pieces need to kind of fall together perfectly to flesh out a staff that's essentially brewed from the ground up. So and Zebby, I think, is the sort of is a good microcosm of that, and I hope he sticks, because you had brought up the worry. I was like, okay, is this a spot start or whatever? I'm glad it's not. I was kind of relieved when I saw his name on the schedule for the next week, so it'll be great.
No, I'm also glad it was not. I was scared of the spot start, but I think he won the job versus Louie Varland, and there was 6 pitchers on that lineup, and he won it. So I'm happy.
No, that was great for him.
Louie Varland's now sent down, so that means he can't be called up for I think it's 10 days. I think is the rule. Is once you send a player down, they can't be brought back up for I think it's 10 days after they're sent down, unless an injury. Which I think so. Yeah. Speaking of injuries, I unfortunately I did bring that up. I think now is a good time to probably mention Byron Buxton. Who left the game a few games ago with a hip-related injury, kind of out of the blue. No one really saw it happen, but it came out of the blue. But he has officially gone in the IL. However, they really do believe it's the most short-term IL you'll probably see. Probably a max of the 10 days, I'm guessing, before he's back. It's just a little time to get a little rest, and probably get him ready for the last month of the year, which it looks like right now he's going to make that 100-game mark for the first time in his career. I think. I don't know if we have rumor on that, but I think if I've done the math right, I think he's already at 90. So I don't think he doesn't have a long way to go before he's back. Before he's there. Let me make sure on that quick though. Byron Buxton this year has 90 games played for Byron Buxton this year. So he only has 10 more games left before he hits the 100 mark for only the second time in his career, I guess. Sorry, in 2017 he played 140 games. But
even then.
Yeah, so it's only the second time in his career he's going to reach 100. His max, besides that big one 2017 year, is 92. So if he gets 3 more games, he'll pass the second highest game total of his career. So shout out to the Twins front office and the Twins medical staff for figuring something out on how to properly workload Buxton to make sure he doesn't get hurt for long periods of time. So shout out that. But with Byron Buxton going down, Eddie Julian is coming back up to the majors. In what's been one of the most disappointing sophomore year as a player probably can have.
Yeah.
Julian's found it. I mean, it's been very bad. I can tell you the exact stats. It's not pretty. I feel bad saying it to the kid, but in 63 games, Edward Julian has a 204 batting average, a 311 on base percentage, a 354 slugging, a 665 OPS, all insanely down from last year. He only has 7 home runs, 17 RBIs, and it's just been bad. I mean, it's just been. I mean, he's gotten sent down twice now. This is his third time. This is his second time getting called up. So we're hoping that he may figures it out now and that he has a good outing now. But for right now, Edward Julian is back in the lineup and he's back in the rotation. I don't think he's back in the lineup, but yeah. So Edward Julian is back, which is very nice to see him.
No,
he's not starting today, but he's back and he's back there for depth rotation.
No.
The question really is then I guess we're probably just gonna stick with Margot at center or whoever we've been really going center with, which is kind of disappointing, honestly, because I was kind of hoping a person that could get called up could be Deshaun Kersey, who is the center fielder for the Saints. I was kind of hoping he'd be one of the guys and possibly got called up to play center field, but we'll see. We're gonna have a different. We'll have different guys. I think today they're putting Austin Martin in center field today, so we'll see how that goes. But we're gonna be waiting a little bit before we're all fully healthy again. We don't have any updates on Correa yet. I'm assuming he's not far away.
No, there was something from the Star today that I thought that I think pointed to him being close, but
yeah, there's. I mean, yeah, I think. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. There's not really been any updates. It's a little scary, but hopefully, Correa's back soon. I'm assuming it's not gonna keep out for much longer.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he'll probably be back for September at least. So that's the hope right now. That's where the kind of hope is hope that he's back for September. But yeah, that's that with the injury topics. Anders, let's discuss this Rangers series here quick, and then I think we're good. So yeah, and one quick thing that I forgot to mention: the Twins. I think if I saw it right, they clinched the season series versus the Royals, with their 2 wins already. With their 2 wins in that series, so that's a big series win, especially when it comes to like the wild card race and a possible like denominator. I can't think of the term right now, but I can't think of words. But it's a good thing to have that series win in our pocket.
Yeah.
But
No, definitely. I mean, the Rangers are a team that have been, I think, started off as a pretty blistering disappointment and have kind of stabilized a little bit, but in their past 10 games are 3-7. And obviously you gave that stat earlier, Zach. But this is a team, we've seen this team also be hot at points in the year. And, this is an important series down the stretch to kind of just give that last little push at the end for a tiebreaker for when you're fighting for wild card spots. And, so stuff like this is really important. The Rangers are, offensively in, a little better than the Cubs territory, in our first episode talking about them and sort of the inconsistencies of their offense. But right now the Rangers currently, 20th in average, 22 in OPS, and not providing a ton of power, 16th in home runs. The staff has been up and down. The bullpen has been atrocious. It's probably been the most disappointing bullpen, at least one of the most disappointing bullpens in in baseball. I'm expecting personally a 3 over. I'm gonna probably lean towards a 3 out of 4. I think the Ober game against Bradford we win. I think the Woods Richardson game against Heaney we win. So both of our televised games nationally, we take those, and then I think we drop the Uvalde game against Festa, and then I think we kind of close it out with Lopez against Molly. So
which would be a really interesting one to do. That Lopez Molly game will be a really interesting one to watch. Yeah. Because obviously Molly is a former Twin, was very disappointing with the Twins for what we gave up for him. Yeah. So I'm very excited to see if the Twins can kind of get to Molly here. He's actually not been terrible for the Rangers.
No.
So I'm excited, but I think I'm gonna say 3. I'm gonna be optimistic here and say 3. I think our pitching is better than their hitting by a long shot, and I think our pitching outpitches their hitting, and I think our hitting has the ability to get to good pitchers, as we saw in the last series. I don't know if anyone of you guys saw it. We got the Seth Lugo regression, which was much needed in our lives that we needed to see. We needed to get to Lugo once this season. I was very upset with how good he was pitching, but good news also, Seth Lugo is over 3 ERA, I think, for the first time this season. So that's a major dub for Twins fans. But yeah, no. So I say 3. I say we win the Ober game. I say we win the SWR game. And then I kind of also agree. I think we lose the Uvalde game. I think we win the last game. So I'm going to say 3. But there is definitely a play for, I think, 3 here. I think that's kind of where I'm leaning.
Yeah,
but if we really play well in 4 games, I'm happy. If we barely lose that Festa Uvalde game, or Festa pitches really well, we still lose because we can't hit Uvalde, I'm not going to be upset with that.
Yeah, no. For Festa, I trust the rest of our lineup for that. For Festa and Zebby, the result of the game is not as important to me as just their development. Like for Lopez and Ober and Woods Richardson, like winning the game is like what you want to walk in with. For like at least I think for the rest of the month, at least like until we get to the end of August, for Festa and Matthews, just their development, I think, is the most important part of their starts, given the consistency of the bullpen. So it's going to be a really, really good series. I'm very excited. I'm glad we're on national television.
I'm also glad.
I am as well. Yeah, it's always nice to see. That's going to do it for us today. Went a little longer than expected, but there's no issue with that at all.
I don't have any issue with it.
I don't know. No, nothing wrong. Nothing wrong with overtime. Nothing wrong with free baseball. Nothing wrong with extra innings. This has been the Bleav in Twins podcast on the Bleav Network. I've been Anders Pryor alongside Zac Tipton. If you are, you can keep on listening to us on the Bleav.com website, or check us out on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, or wherever you get all of your listening. And if you are watching us on YouTube, subscribe and put on post notifications. And we will see you guys to start the week on Monday after the Rangers series. Go Twins. Zac, great to see you as always.
Great to see you guys, and hey, thank you. Go Twins. Hopefully we can win the series against the Rangers.
Absolutely. Very important stuff. We'll see you guys on Monday.
See you guys on Monday.